Hey, it's Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about why follow-ups are absolute BS and a total waste of time. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand. Welcome to today's show. Today is all about follow-ups. I saw a really prominent marketer the other day talking about how if you are doing any kind of phone sales or phone appointments or anything like that, it's really important to follow up with your prospects a minimum of like 16 times. I was like, are you kidding me? Nobody's got that kind of time. So today we're going to talk about how we're able to make, and our clients are able to make, consistent high ticket sales. We're talking about $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 on the very first phone call. So no follow-ups, no chasing people down, one call, one sale. Joining me today is our amazing, brilliant Director of Sales, Mr. Mark Von Muser. Mark, how's it going, man?
It's great to be here. I love this topic, so we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things because I really think this is one of those, like I love the parts of our system that just completely go against the conventional wisdom, right? And I want you guys to understand, conventional wisdom is a recipe for conventional results, okay? Conventional wisdom is a recipe for conventional results. And unfortunately, when you're talking about being in the coaching space or the online world or anything like that, or even the world of sales, conventional results is failure. Most people who go into any of those fields, whether it's coaching or if you want to be an infopreneur online, you want to sell your stuff, whether you're doing insurance, anything, the conventional result is absolute and total failure. So if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to get what everyone else is getting. Make sense? So one of the greatest things about the way that we teach this stuff is that we just totally blow this idea of follow-ups completely out of the water. We don't believe in follow-ups at all because I think there's a lot of reasons we're going to get into on the show today. But the one thing that I really want you to understand is that it is absolutely possible if you set up your marketing correctly, you set up your business correctly, and you follow some of the principles we're about to share with you, it is absolutely possible to make a $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 sale or even $15,000 sale or more on the very first conversation. So no like nurturing the relationship, no going back and having call after call after call, no hounding people and bringing them up again and again and again. You can make that sale on the very first conversation. Mark, I'm going to pull back the curtain even more. Most of our high ticket sales at Clients on Demand happen within 40 minutes. Let me say that again. Most of our high ticket sales at Clients on Demand happen within 40 minutes. If you look at the stats for our top salespeople, when they're on the phone with people, that enrollment usually happens within about 40 to 45 minutes. So please, if you only take one thing away from this show today, understand the possibility that you don't have to believe what everyone else is telling you, that, you got to follow up with people again and again and again, or most sales happen on the 7th call or whatever. That's not true. It might be true for them, but it's not true for us. Our sales happen on the very first conversation. They happen usually within about 40 to 45 minutes. And that's even at a $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 price point. So if you think about what that means for you, that means that your business can be way more efficient than it has been. If you learn how to enroll people properly on the phone and you learn how to pre-frame that phone call so that it's set up properly from the get-go, think about how much time that would save you if you never had to do a follow-up call again. I mean, really sit down and just map it out. How often are you following up with clients? How often are you even talking to clients in the first place? But for those of you that are, how many times are you following up and how many hours a week are you spending on those follow-ups? Look, we're running a dynamic company here. We don't have a lot of time to do all that stuff. So for us, it's all about that one call enrollment.
I love this, Russ. Let's break down a little bit too about why people need to do follow-ups and why that has been taught for so long. There's a couple reasons I've looked at. And one of the first ones is because they're using outdated models. They're using an outdated feature benefit model. So they're showing up to these breakthrough calls expecting to have to do a follow-up, expecting the people not to make a decision. So they show up weak on that call. They're showing up with an outdated sales model instead of having a honest conversation, which really gets to the consequences of not fixing the problem. They're talking about bells and whistles and how long we've been in business. We focus, and it's much more effective to focus on the emotional consequences of not solving the problem. So if you show up to these calls and you show up to your business expecting to have to do follow-ups, you're going to show up weak on the call. You're going to have to do a lot of follow-ups. And unfortunately, there's a lot of consequences if you keep doing that. We'll break that down today as well.
Right. So Mark, I want to unpack what you said because there's a lot of gold in there. The first thing that you guys need to take into consideration is what conversation are you having? What conversation are you having? Are you having a conversation about how great you are and about how great your service is and about how many certifications you have and how many letters are after your name? And like Mark said, how long you've been in business and all this other irrelevant stuff that the client doesn't even care about? Or are you having the conversation that the client wants to have? Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that if you think about the times in your life when you've been wrestling with a major problem, right? So you've been struggling with a major life or business challenge. Your relationship is broken. You can't find, anybody to go out with you. Your fitness is a mess. Your nutrition is a mess. Your business is a mess. Or any of these sort of big high stakes problems that our clients solve, right? So if you're in the coaching space, chances are you solve some of those high stakes problems too. So think about yourself. When you've ever been in a position in your life, when you've been dealing with a problem like that, the only conversation you want to have is, how do I fix this? That's the only conversation that you want to have. And so the question for you is, what conversation are you having when you're speaking to your clients? Are you talking about the stuff that you care about? The features of your offer, the benefits of your offer, how great your offer is, how awesome you are. Is that what you're talking about? Are you letting the client have a real conversation about what this problem is, how it's affecting their life, what's going to happen if they don't do anything about it, and what's the way forward? So right there, you have to really take a look at this, because I would bet you the vast majority of people who are doing sales are having the first conversation when they really should be having the second conversation. And the problem with having the first conversation is because you're not really addressing what's really going on. You're not really addressing what the client cares about. You're just talking about what you care about. You got to talk to that person again and again and again. Hey, here are all the benefits and all the features of our program. Doesn't that sound great? Well, yeah, that sounds pretty good. But I'm just going to have to go and think about it. Oh, no problem. Take your time. Go think about it. Do what you got to do. I'll circle back with you next week. And then you're circling back with them again and again and again and again. And for you as a salesperson or as a business owner or as a coach or whatever your role is, you feel like you're getting something done. Oh man, I had a great conversation with this guy today. He's super excited. He told me to follow up with him next week. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll follow him up with him again and again and again. And you can really lie to yourself, right? For like weeks and weeks where this whole thing just drags out, right? That's the consequence of having that first conversation. But if you're having the second conversation where you're really talking to the client about what their problems are and what they care about, that conversation can be a much, much shorter conversation. And what you need to understand is that it makes the buying decision easy. So if I'm talking to you and you're saying, well, I got a master's degree from Princeton and I went here and I'm certified by this person. Now I'm sitting there going, well, what is this certification? What does it mean? Is Princeton a good school? What about Yale? What about Harvard? Like, I'm thinking about all this irrelevant stuff. And you're giving me more and more and more stuff to think about. So now we got to follow up again and again and again. But if you're talking to me about my problems and I'm being real with you, right? And you've established rapport and you're getting to the truth of what's really going on with me, then my decision is very simple. Do I want to fix this problem or not? And that's how you're able to enroll someone on that very first call, because most people, when they really come face to face with the problem that they've got and the consequences of not fixing it, they will decide to do something about it. But when you're talking to me about all this other irrelevant stuff, certification, features, benefits, all the stuff Mark just mentioned, now it becomes a difficult decision. Now it's like there's all this extra stuff for me to think about. What you want to do for your clients, the best thing you can do for your clients is make it an easy decision. Do you want to fix this problem or not? And when you orient everything in the conversation around that, that is how you're able to sell something, even something, again, that's $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 on that very first conversation, because you're having the conversation that the client needs to have. Does that make sense?
There's one other area that coaches and consultants find themselves when they're doing the way that you're talking about, features and benefits and having that logical conversation, is they slip into coach mode. And what they do is I see this all the time with therapists, coaches, consultants, attorneys, you name it. And what they do is they want to start coaching on the call. They want to start showing you, Russ, I'm going to show you how good I am. And then you're going to be so impressed, you're going to want to work with me. And this is slips back to when consultative selling. But the problem is that it's counterproductive on the call. It's like giving out a Band-Aid, or when somebody needs surgery, or giving them a Band-Aid and not having an honest conversation. And people will do that because in the short term, it feels good. Wow, they were really impressed with me. Wow. But the problem is it's a death knell to your enrollments. And when we hear it all the time, people are just waiting when they're doing these enrollment calls with people to try and wait for them to, where can I use my magic? Wait till I show them my magic close. Oh, wait till I show them how good I am on this. And so then they start coaching. Then the conversation shifts off of that. And now they're already talking about fixing it. But again, we're giving Band-Aids and it's not going to last. And the people go off the phone thinking, oh, okay, well, I got some good value. And now they're going to get off the phone and they're going to go right back to where they were. So that's the other thing that I see that is killing people's enrollments, is they slip into coach mode and they think that if I give away free coaching and I do a little bit of coaching, they're going to be so impressed, they're going to want to sign up with me. And the absolute opposite is what happens.
There's this whole idea of results in advance, or moving the free line, where the idea is, let me give people my best stuff for free. And if I give them my best stuff for free, then eventually they're going to be so grateful and so excited that they're going to actually sign up to work with me. And what I found in all my experience is that the exact opposite is true. So first of all, coaches, it's really easy for you guys to go into coach mode like Mark is talking about, because that is what we do, right? You know, someone's talking to you about their problems. It's so easy for you to go, hey, you know what? Actually, here's how you fix this. But here's the problem. What you're doing is you're giving someone a false sense of security. So let's say, for example, that I'm talking to you about your business and I can see right away where the holes are in your business and what you need to fix. And I say, hey, here's what you should do. You should go out there and you should run some ads on Facebook and this and that and the other thing. And you go, okay, are you going to sit there and go, great, let me hire you? No, most of the time you're going to go, oh, great, cool. I'll go out there and try that. But what you don't understand is that if you go out there and you try to run ads on Facebook and you have no idea what you're doing, you are going to get killed. Facebook is going to take all your money and they're not going to give you anything back. So by giving people like little crumbs or Band-Aids or like tidbits of good information, all you're really doing is giving them a false sense of security, right? It's like giving them a Band-Aid when what they really need is a whole hospital. But if you give them the Band-Aid, they go, oh, cool, I guess I got this. And then they go out there and their problem isn't fixed at all. And in fact, you've kind of only made things worse. So please understand, guys, that the last thing you want to do on these calls is go into like coach mode where you try to solve their problem for them on the call. Because if you try to solve their problem for them on the call, they're not going to, they're going to think to themselves that they don't need to work with you, even if they really do. Because you know that actually knowing the solution to your problem and actually taking action and implementing the solution are two completely different things. And most people's problem is not a lack of information. Like everybody that I know is trying to get in shape, right? Even the people that are in shape are trying to get in better shape. And if I go to any of their houses, including my house, by the way, there's like a stack of like fitness books and diet books and all that stuff on the wall. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And yet we keep getting as a country more and more and more out of shape. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the real problem is not a lack of information. The problem is things like motivation and accountability, strategic support, mindset support. It's that one size fits all solutions don't work. So it's all these sort of transformational aspects that you can actually give to people in your programs. But if all you do is give them that little tidbit of information and then they think that's all they need, they're never going to go out there and get the result. Does that make sense? So understand that the worst thing you can do on your sales calls is to go into that sort of coach consultant mode. So that's two things we talked about you shouldn't be doing. Number one, that old school style sort of features and benefit selling, where all you're really doing is talking about yourself and how great you are or your product and how great it is. That's dead. That doesn't work anymore. And maybe it never worked actually, but it really doesn't work now. And the second thing is to try to go into coach or consultant mode where you think to yourself, if I just give and give and give and give and give, eventually people are going to like me so much and they're going to be so grateful that they're going to work with me. Guys, I can just promise you from experience, that's just not true. It sounds good. It's one of those things that sounds good, but it's not true.
Yeah, it's amazing because, again, a lot of those paradigms, Russ, were built back when you could hire a team of 10 salespeople and they would go door knock for free on your behalf, and they only pay them when they get a sale. So you don't care if somebody is going out there knocking doors for 10 hours a day. Good. You don't make it. Great. You're gone. I replace you. And so that was kind of where we got to this place. Same thing with telemarketing. Leads back in the day, you could buy a list of 1,000 1,000 phone numbers for $1,000. You know what I mean? Or even less, $100 could get you 1,000 numbers. So you didn't care about following up and calling or door knocking. But the game has changed because, again, if you're trying to build a business, you don't want to have a sales team of 10, 20, 30 people because to do paid traffic, to do that, you're also fighting what the first one is this old outdated model is a huge waste of time. I mean, it's a huge waste of time. But back in the day before the internet, before we had technology, that was a way to get enrollments. Was you'd put a sales team out there in the street and they door knock for 10 hours a day and boom, you'd get a few sales here and there. And so it was a little bit effective, but the game and the platform has completely changed. Now it's online. Those old methods do not work, and they will be the death knell to your business if you don't update to start having an updated approach to getting clients today. So, I mean, but the big one for me is I hate it because it wastes time. It's time you could spend with your family. It's time that you could be spending serving clients. It's time to be enrolling new clients. I mean, the whole follow-up game is an outdated consequence to a really crappy model.
Well, it forces you to chase people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that really destroys your sort of framing, right? So proper framing for a coaching relationship is that you've got the answers and that they have to come and work with you and that you've got certain standards for who you'll work with and who you won't. I mean, if you guys think about any sort of mentor character in any movie ever, they always make the person jump through some hoops before they'll work with them, right? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mr. Miyagi, hey, go like sand my fence and paint my fence and wax on, wax off. Like go do this work and then I'll work with you, Yoda, like all these characters, like, there's a reason that they're like that is because a true mentor understands that they have the goods, they have the gift, and you have to show up correctly and be willing to do the work if you want to receive the transformation that they're going to give you. And so if you're out there and you're chasing and hounding these people and calling them up and following up again and again and again, you don't look like the expert that they're dying to work with. You look like someone who's desperate, and nothing turns people off like just total desperation. So understand, guys, that especially if you're talking about coaching or high ticket coaching or transformational coaching, which is really our specialty, although this applies to any industry, if any situation where you want to have that authority positioning, following up with these people again and again and again, it really wrecks that. And as Mark said, it massively wastes your time. So I think one of the things that we should talk about, Mark, is that this is usually a consequence of just bad marketing or inexistent or a non-existent marketing system. So let's say, for example, that in your business, you're getting like 95% of your clients by way of referral and word of mouth. That's the problem right there, because maybe you'll get one referral a week, 2 referrals a week, 3 referrals, whatever, and your referrals are completely dependent upon your clients, right? If they feel like giving you a referral, they're going to give you one. If they don't, they're not. And maybe they'll do it this week. Maybe they'll do it next week. Maybe the referral will be good. Maybe the referral won't be good. The point is that the number of people reaching out to work with you is just a trickle. Maybe 1 a week, 2 a week, 1 a month, 2 a month. In a situation like that, you're so tempted to follow up with people because that's your only shot at getting a new client, because it's just luck of the draw. Hopefully you get a referral. Hopefully you do. If you do, great. But now you really got to focus on enrolling that person, because if you don't, you're not going to enroll anybody new that month. And that's a situation that I think a lot of coaches find themselves in. And I honestly think this idea of getting clients through referral, my whole business is built on referral. That's great, but it means you can't scale. I mean, it's awesome because if you've got a business that's doing okay because your clients are referring people, that's good, because it means you're getting good results for your clients and it means they like you. And that's a great thing. But it also means you have absolutely no chance in hell of ever scaling your business or creating any kind of real predictability in your business, because you're just sitting there with your fingers crossed, hoping that someone sends you a referral. And when they do, and that's the only referral you got that month, now you have to follow up with that person again and again and again. You have to chase them. You have to hound them. And that's not what we want for you. So a big part of this really just comes down to how many leads are you getting every week? How many leads are you getting every month? How many people are putting their hand up and saying, yeah, I'm interested in working with you? Because if that number is like really small, then yeah, you're going to have to follow up with people. But the real problem is you got to fix that. And what you need to do is deploy some kind of system like the kind that we've been talking about to bring in new clients every day. So at Clients on Demand, we've got like 30 to 40 people a day reaching out to work with us a day. And so even though we have a significant sales team, we don't have time to follow up with that many people. Who has time to follow up with 40 people a day? You don't. But that's the luxury of having an incredibly powerful client attraction system. So if you don't have that, you're going to be selling from your heels, aren't you? You're going to be going into those calls desperate and scared because maybe this is the first lead you've gotten in weeks. And if you don't enroll this person, you don't make any money that month. That's a horrible place to sell from. It's a horrible place to coach from too. You can't coach from this place of desperation and fear. So what you need to do is deploy a real client attraction system for yourself that can bring you the kinds of clients that you want consistently like clockwork. Because when you do that, now you have the power. Now you have the power to pick and choose. Well, I want to work with this person, but that person was kind of a jerk, so I don't want to work with them. The last thing we want for you is to be in a situation where you have to take on a client that you know you shouldn't work with. That's a terrible feeling, and it sucks for the client and it sucks for you. So let's take a second now and just check in with yourself. What does your client attraction strategy look like? If you're depending on word of mouth, you should rethink that. You need something where you spend X on advertising and you get Y clients. That's the only way to build a real sustainable business. And as you guys know, the process we use here at Clients on Demand is really simple. It's ad, webinar, phone call, new client. So people click an ad, they sign up, they watch a webinar. At the end of the webinar, they schedule an appointment to talk to us. And then if they're a fit, we enroll them. That's it. And just using that really simple process, we're able to get a continuous stream of new clients coming in the business. And that gives us the power to choose who we want to work with and who we don't want to work with. You understand? So if you don't have a system like that, it doesn't have to be that exact system, but if you don't have a system like that in place, driving new consistent clients every single day, then you're going to be selling from your heels. You're going to be selling from a weak position because if you don't enroll that person, you don't make any money. And that's a terrible, terrible feeling. Make sense?
Yeah, that's such good. This is so good, Russ. I want to break it down and look at it a way that I looked at this for a long time is, are you proactively marketing or reactively marketing? And this is coming from somebody, I did my master's thesis on the number one referral-based marketing company on the planet. So I got to go behind the scenes and look at what really people were really doing with referral-based marketing. And it was nowhere near what the sales pitch was. And it was always reactionary. And so what happens, a good buddy of mine was the number one realtor in Kansas City. And so every football player that bought a house bought it through him. Every baseball player with the Royals bought it through him. All the surgeons, all the doctors, and these were all referral-based marketing. And he was doing really good right up until the one day when that one-legged stool got it kicked out. The number one source of his referrals was the wife of the head surgeon that was the sports medical surgeon and then also had a connection with the different sports teams. She got bored and decided she wanted to be a realtor too. His income took a 70% drop immediately because everybody now felt obliged to go work with her. And that's what happens. But I don't like reactionary marketing. And this, please hear it. I've built several $1 million referral systems. So I love referrals, but they are after you build a proactive system like Russ is talking about. But other people, they kind of sit back and they're reactionary, hoping someone's going to call, hoping someone's going to refer. You can't control the quality of the lead. You're constantly having to train people how to refer. And most of these other referral-driven systems, you end up pestering the people you want to work with. So eventually they stop taking your calls. That's why the sales pitch for referral marketing is fantastic, but it is a reactionary and it's secondary. When I see somebody that's doing it like Russ says, where he builds a proactive where I can generate my front end, now the referrals are bonus money. Now the referrals come in and they still will follow you more quickly because you're successful on your own. It's kind of like when you don't need referrals is when you're going to get them. If you need them and you're sitting there, no one's going to do it because you got that sense of desperation, scarcity energy, and people don't want to work with those kind of people. But I love what you said, Russ. Proactive marketing is intentional. You can create it. You can turn it up. You can turn it down. But this month, I want to go ahead and I'm going to generate this many sales because I'm going to generate this many calls. And that's amazing because that now is the key to scale and growth.
If we couldn't do that, Mark, we couldn't get such great results for our clients. Like, in other words, if your marketing is dependent on someone else, right? Dependent on someone giving you referrals or giving you leads, or dependent on an affiliate or somebody promoting your stuff, you've got your hat in your hand, and you're just hoping that those people come through for you. If we taught that strategy, there's no way we could get our clients the kinds of results that we do, because there wouldn't be any predictability to it. We want to put you in the driver's seat of your business, where hey, for every $500 I spend on advertising, I talk to 6 or 7 or 8 people. And of those 6 or 7 or 8 people, I'm going to enroll 2 of them into my $5 or $8 or $10,000 program. That's not bad. That's really good, because it gives you the power now where you can decide, hey, this is how many people I want to talk to. This is how many new clients I want. This is how fast I want to grow my business. And now you've got control. Whereas if you're dependent on word of mouth or dependent on other people, you have no control. And if you have no control, you're going to have no confidence. If you have no confidence, you're going to have no clients.
Yeah, and you can't predict. You can't scale. You can't bring on new staff. You can't bring on new people, because you don't know what next month is going to bring. And then let's say you have a bunch of referrals this month. Great. But next month, you can't predict it. You don't know. And also on a lot of the referrals, how do you know they're going to be quality? Are they your ideal? That's one of the biggest complaints with most marketing and referral programs is, you sell cars and somebody calls you up as a referral and they want to go ahead and get a bike. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I appreciate the referral, but I'm in the car business, not the bike business. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. And it's just, again, without proactive marketing, I love referrals, but I don't want to base my future and my family and my business on it, because again, you can't control it and you can't predict it and you can't scale it.
So having that kind of predictability in your business is key. And if you don't, you need to do something about it. You need to deploy the kind of system that we're talking about. And we've tried this 1,000 different ways. So one of the things that we do constantly is test new ways to do this, like new different processes for bringing clients in the door. Not because we don't have something that works, we do, but I'm always trying to think, it's just healthy for me to say, well, look, let's try this. I don't want to make any assumptions. I don't want to assume that my way is the best way, and then something else comes along that's even better, right? If something else is better, I want to find it first. So we're constantly testing new models and new variations. But right now, guys, the best thing, and it's been the best thing for like almost 10 years now, is ad, webinar, phone call, new client. That's it. We can't make it any simpler than that. You can make it more complicated. You can send people from a sign up for like a free thing, and then to a $7 thing, and then a $27 thing, and then upsells and downsells. You can make it as complicated as you want. But the simplest way to do it is ad, webinar, phone call, new client. And on that phone call, what we're talking about here is that one conversation is powerful enough to sell your stuff for $5 or $8 or $10,000, even if you've never charged that much before. That's another thing I want you guys to understand. The people that we teach to do this system and deploy this system, none of them already came to us with like a $5,000 offer. And I think that's happened, Mark, like 5 times in the whole history of the company. Almost everybody we've ever worked with has been either not selling anything online at all, or they've been selling their time like in their office or coaching on the phone or something for like $100 an hour. Or maybe they were selling like a $27 ebook or like a $97 video course or something, relatively inexpensive. So understand that if you want to roll out a system like this, you don't already have to have some super successful $5,000 offer or $8,000 offer. Almost nobody that we've ever worked with has come to us with that. We help them develop it. And then once we've developed it, we develop all the marketing around it and that sales process on the phone that allows you to make those enrollments with one conversation. So the only thing that's holding you back is just not willing to put your hand up and say, help me do this. And if that's what you want, then here's what we have for you. The team has set aside some time to speak to you in the next 48 hours about how we can help you apply these ideas to your business starting today. So how can we help you craft an offer that sells for $5 or $8 or $10,000? How can we help you put together all of the marketing in place so that it runs like clockwork, so that you have a new stream of clients reaching out to work with you all the time? And then how do you speak to those clients in a powerful, compelling way to have the conversation that they really want to have so that you can enroll them into your $5 or $8 or $10,000 programs consistently like clockwork? That's the position we want you to be in, where you've got more people coming to you than you know what to do with. You've got so many people reaching out to work with you that you get to actually pick and choose and say, you and you and you, great, it's an 8K investment, let's get started. That's where we want you to be. So what I want you to do is go to clientsondemand.com/talk. That's clientsondemand.com/talk and book an appointment to speak to our team. We'll get on the phone for about 45 minutes. You can tell us everything that's working in your business, everything that's not working, what's going great, what you're stuck on. And we really want to get you clear on that one conversation. We want to get you clear on a few things. Number one, the exact price you should be charging, whether that's 5, 8, 10, 3, whatever, however many $1,000, what is that price? Number two, who are those clients that you want to work with most? Who are they? Who are the clients you really want to work with? Who are the clients you never want to work with again? Number three, where do they live? What's the best place to sort of advertise to reach those clients? And number four, what's the step-by-step game plan to bring those clients in the door and enroll them at a premium price? So that's what we want to work on that call. And if you want to talk to us about how we can help you implement that, great. If not, that's cool too. Either way, the call is completely free. So go to clientsondemand.com/talk and book an appointment to speak to us. Look, guys, if you're having to chase down your clients because you don't have enough lead flow and you're undercharging or you're selling yourself short, all these things are like little death traps for your business. And they're like little traps that like everybody falls into. What we want to do is show you how to avoid all of that stuff. So you can have a high ticket offer, you can sell it consistently, and then you can deliver it like from your house, from anywhere in the world, as long as you have a laptop and internet connection. So we want to give you that income, the freedom, and impact. That's what this is all about. So go to clientsondemand.com/talk and book an appointment to speak to us.
Yeah. And to everybody listening, imagine what would your business look like if every month you knew you could book 20 over the course of a month, have 20 highly qualified people calling you, trying to work with you. Maybe you want 30, maybe 40, maybe 100. But what would your business look like if they were already pre-screened, pre-qualified, and already there to make a decision about yes or no? Now, what would happen if you start enrolling those people at $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 and they're qualified, committed, and ready to do the work? And that's the other piece. We've done it on other calls, but the quality of candidate and client that you get to work with is exponentially better when you're working with the committed, when you're working with people that have skin in the game. And so what happens, and we hear this from all of our clients that work with us, is like, oh my God, and my results I'm getting from my clients is amazing because you're doing the work and you're only working with the committed. What would your life look like in terms of your family life if you weren't wasting 80% of your time talking to unqualified people? What would you do with that time? What would you do if you knew that every month I could sign up 10, 20 new clients and get amazing results for those clients? And that's when you see all the success stories, that's what we're showing them how to do. And guys, don't make the mistake about bringing an old, outdated, system into today. Most of these marketing systems that are out there are reactionary, and that's why they're trying to manipulate you into thinking that, if you do a ton of follow-ups and you do it this way and you do that, the problem is that you're losing time. And right now, there is a much more effective way to get clients in the door and get clients that you can work with and charge a premium rate for that. And you can actually start achieving your goals. So book the call. If this works for you, we'll show you what that looks like. If it doesn't, we'll steer you to something that does. So we know what it takes to make this work, and we know who it works with and who it doesn't. So we look forward to chatting with you. The only thing that you have to lose is poverty. So quit wasting time. If you have a skill set, let's have a conversation and see if we can help you become wealthy doing it.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to clientsondemand.com/talk and book that appointment to speak to us. Mark, thanks a lot. We'll catch you guys on the next show. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you guys want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me. You can click that button right over there. If you want to book a breakthrough session with our team, which you absolutely should do, then you can click that button there or go to clientsondemand.com/talk to book an appointment to speak to us. We'll go ahead and catch you on the next show. Bye-bye.